Hello and welcome to Business Owners Unite, the podcast where we explore the challenges, successes, and lessons learned from those who have navigated the exciting yet complex world of business ownership. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned entrepreneur, this podcast is for you to help, inspire, and guide you on your business journey. So let's get started and unite the world of business owners, one story at a time.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Owners Unite podcast. I'm your host, Kyle from Social Geeks Digital Agency. Today, we have a very unique guest, somebody who has a lot of experience in a really interesting topic. I'm excited to chat more. So we got Darren from Wealth 99. How are you going, mate?
I'm doing great. Doing great.
Excellent. For those who don't know who you are and what you do, maybe you can just give us a quick rundown of what Wealth 99 does. And I think the big thing I'm excited about, Darren, is the crypto side of things. I know we've gone through a crypto winter, but it's really coming back in a big way. So that's one thing I'm ready to geek out on.
Very cool. So Wealth 99, we're a digital platform, a bit like a Binance or a BTC market. So we allow people to be able to buy, sell, or store cryptocurrencies, digital assets, and also tokenized precious metals. And we do it a bit differently. So security is a really big thing for us, and we're really set up for investment when it comes to self-managed super funds and trusts for the auditing process and the security that's in place and auditing trail for self-managed super fund auditors. So really digital, wealth is really our space, but in digital wealth.
Okay, excellent. This is something that I geeked out massively on in 2020, and went all in, and unfortunately didn't work out too well for me, if I'm being honest. But I still have a lot of crypto. So I'm hoping, hey, but it seems like it's going on the up now, so it looks like it's coming back. What led you to this path, if you don't mind me asking, Darren? Because when we first met, which is probably going back a few years now at least, you were a developer, really into software. So I imagine that might be the path that led you to the beautiful world of cryptocurrency.
Sort of, actually. I've been in the digital space, like with what you're similar to yourself, building websites, and that started back in 2007, and then went into software and development. So that really probably the last decade. But of all things that got me into the crypto space was a scam. And I'll explain.
Oh, wow.
And I'll explain. So I stuck.
Yeah.
So a friend said, stick a couple $100 into this Bitcoin thing through a company, and we'll do all right. This was back in about 2015, and it was utilizing Bitcoin, which I'd never heard of before. And in the end, that opportunity ended up becoming a scam. But the Bitcoin itself, I was like, what is this Bitcoin? What is it? So I started to research more, and over the years we've utilized like the blockchain in part of our developing process over the years, because it's amazing technology. But it was that process of a scam and some friends around me getting scammed that sent my interest into crypto. And then the more I delved into it in 2016 and onwards, been through a couple of cycles now, the more I go, I can see where this is going for the future and how this technology is going to change the world.
Yeah. And it is fascinating. Like, for those who might be completely, I guess, new to it all, like blockchain technology is kind of the underlying network that cryptocurrency is kind of built on, right? So it's essentially a distributed ledger or a database that stores transactions. And, Bitcoin's kind of the grandfather of it all, but there's, from last I checked, tens of thousands of different cryptocurrencies now and all different types of utilities. And if you do want to get started in it, it can be hugely overwhelming.
Yeah.
Even for me, I like to think I'm pretty techie. I've got a cold wallet or like, an actual hardware wallet, and it is hard to use. Like, it's not an easy process to move, things around. And, it does take a lot of technical understanding.
Yeah, I think it's like the evolution of anything. Evolution of technology sometimes takes a bit of time. I remember when I bought my first one of these back in 1991. I think it was this big brick, back in the time.
Yeah.
Big long aerial. They're about $6,000 to buy them back in the day. And now you look at it now to how they've developed and how that technology's changed over the last 30 odd years. And now
Very
we've
true.
got more power in this than you did in a computer like 30 years ago.
Oh,
it's
absolutely, man.
amazing.
Yeah, very true.
Same thing with where we're
It
going,
is, yeah.
because we're only like 14 years into the space. So it's technology is evolving and it will get easier, I believe,
Yeah.
as we go along.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the thing that really piqued my interest was the decentralization of like financial systems. And one of the big ones that I went all in on was Polygon, which has some
Great
really
tech.
fascinating technology underneath that, very low cost transaction fees, all of that. And you look at how many transactions per second these networks can do now. It's getting to the point where it could compete with Visa and Mastercard. And Visa on its own, I'm gonna test your knowledge here. How much money do you think goes through the Visa network every year, just in terms of transactions? If you had to guess,
Uh,
how much money do you think Visa transacts per year?
I would say, as a guess, $1 trillion a day. It'd be astronomical.
A day?
I would
Oh,
say,
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
big. It's pretty big.
yeah.
It's about $24 trillion
A
a
year.
year.
Okay, I'm
So
a bit
not per
over it.
day. That would be
I'm a bit
per day
over.
would be amazing. But it's yeah, a little bit. 300 and well,
Uh,
you're about 10
yeah,
times
10
over
times
if
over.
we work
Yeah,
it
yeah.
out. Like so, I think Visa is only one of the many different payment
Mm.
processors, right? You've got PayPal, you've got Mastercard, American Express, the Swift network. All of these are essentially distributed, well, centralized, sorry, ledgers, centralized payment systems. What you have with Polygon or Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these blockchain technologies is a decentralized payment processing network, right? So I could send money to your business through this network for a fraction of a cent. Visa charged 2% of whatever the transaction value is. Same as MasterCard. I think, American Express might even be
It
more.
is.
So these networks, 2% of, $24 trillion is you know, according to my calculations, is a shitload of money.
Yes.
So it's
Just
it's one of those things, isn't it?
it is.
It's like if we're able to move over as a society away from centralized big bank businesses that essentially extract money from the masses and that's their business model and move to a distributed model where we can all stake our money in these networks and earn back some of those fees. I think that's a much more fair, egalitarian, and democratic society for the future. So it gets me very excited from that aspect.
Yeah, that I think has been the challenge. Control, getting away from control
Yes.
and the ability to be able to have choice. And I think as we saw in what was that, 2008 through to 2010, when we had that last crash, which then brought the introduction of Bitcoin in 2009,
Yep.
that we needed
Yep.
something out there where the oligarchs weren't going to really take over the world and give us some choice to be able to transact. And who wants that?
Absolutely.
Like even now, you think I could go send you some Ethereum, or probably Bitcoin's a bit slow, but Bitcoin Cash is pretty quick. And some of those others that you're talking
Mm.
about there that are actually run faster than Visa and MasterCard now, some of those,
Yeah.
for nothing. And we can do it without needing anyone else to transact that or control our money. You think, you go, some of the
Exactly.
banks still don't do instant transfers. They hold it on the weekend.
Yeah. I know.
Some are up
Yeah.
there with some of their technology where you can do it on the weekend, but some you gotta, you transfer it on Friday and you gotta wait till Monday afternoon before you get it, right?
Yeah.
At least
Yep.
this way you've got
Exactly.
full
Yeah. And
access.
exactly right. And I remember when the Silicon Valley Bank crisis happened, and
Mm,
they I can't remember exactly what happened, but people who had their money in these accounts suddenly couldn't get their money out. The bank did not have enough money. You I know that there's insurances and things in place for the average consumer for a certain amount of money, and that's pretty much, I'm pretty sure, mandated by most governments in most countries. But you know, what happens if there's a catastrophic event that exceeds not only what the banks have on hand, but what the insurance
mm,
fund has in its kitty? Your money isn't your money, and I think that's a really big attraction for people like us who have seen the GFC, and we've seen that banks are really. I think J.P. Morgan is, they've paid $19 billion in criminal fines. It's insane. These are the companies that we trust our money with, and
yeah.
they're like doing the most dodgy things that if we did, we'd be in jail. But because they are the ones who control a lot of society and obviously control the flow of money, they seem to get a free pass on a lot of criminal behavior and unethical behavior as well.
and we only have to look.
Super interesting. We could probably talk about this for 3
Oh,
hours,
I
I think.
know. You only have to look at Australia with our big banks in Australia. They're in the same. They've been through the process over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
going through courts, and what do they come out with? A little slap on the hand,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
for their market, $1 billion fine for them is nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. I think we will see the evolution of us moving towards these technologies. It's just a matter of time. But I do agree that the entrenched powers that be, they are profiting so insanely right now. Like, we're talking about the average Australian is I remember seeing some headline recently, so I'm going to butcher it, but they're talking about how the average living what is it called, like the living standard of the average Australian has gone down over the last year, quite dramatically, and that's because of the rise in interest rates and mortgages
Mm.
and credit costs and things like that. But then at the same time, you have the big four banks posting record profits,
Yes.
and you're like, you guys don't have to put up your rates. There's nothing that says interest rates go up with the Reserve Bank or the Royal Bank, whatever it is, the RBA, and you guys have to do the same. If you're already making a profit, you can, guess what, leave your prices the same. But it's just a great excuse for them to go, hey, this goes up. Of course, we're going to put it up. Like, we'd be silly not to. This is just the way the market's going. Don't blame us, blame these guys. It to me is, it's crazy to think that at the same time as people having the worst kind of crisis that we've seen in the last decade in terms of living costs and standard of living, we're also seeing the big four banks in Australia posting record profits. It's a bit on the nose for me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's the great thing about we have technology out there which is going to take it away from the 1%. That's what I see. The big word that I see that's going to change the world is a word called tokenization. And when people get their
Yes.
head around that, and what does that mean? They'll be excited because now everything that you've just said, I would classify that as the 1%, and the rest of us in the 99%, tokenization is going to give us opportunities into places that only the 1% have had for a very long time. So the world is
Yep.
opening up.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So maybe let's go a bit deeper on the
Yeah.
tokenization, because I think I understand the concept, and I'm going to try to sum up my understanding, and then you can
Mm.
give me the expert take. But tokenization is essentially wrapping up certain commodities. So it could be gold, it could be silver, it could be stocks, it could be anything really, and then selling that uh, as a token on blockchain networks. So people are able to buy those without the trading fees or the stock brokerage fees that you would pay through a traditional account, where they'll charge $25 for you to have the privilege of trading with the big boys. Instead, you can do that for a fraction of a cent through a blockchain network, but still get access to whatever that commodity is. Is that right?
You pretty much summed it up. Yes. Yes. So
Awesome.
everything
Awesome.
is
Look at me go. Oh.
well, so you can just imagine over the next few years. So let me just give you some real life stats uh,
Cool.
done by the Australian government. So there was a research firm called the Australian Digital Finance Cooperative Research Council has spent $180 million on behalf of the Australian government and the Royal Bank of Australia to do some investigation into the tokenization space and where it's heading between now and the year 2030. So let's put some realism on this. AI is the flavor of the year so far this year. Everyone's talking AI everything. So based
Yep.
on where AI sits right now and the dollar value that they're putting to it to the year 2030, they're saying that is a $2 trillion industry. And that's a lot over the next
Wow.
7 years.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Tokenization, they're saying, is a $32 trillion industry before the end of the decade. 16
Wow.
times that.
Wow.
16 times that.
That's huge.
Yeah. And you'll be able to go that there's platforms being built right now where over the next few years, you'll be able to get access to exactly what you said, stocks and bonds and investment opportunities all around the world that only the 1% have had access to. You'll be able to log in and do that for
Yep.
at a fraction of a cost. You'll even have AI technology built into it which will help you
Wow.
assess all the best sort of opportunities based on your risk and reward, and give you that, give you a wraparound of what sort of could be some options for you, and then you have choice, and you can do them all,
That's so
finger
exciting.
from your laptop. Do it from your phone
Yeah,
anywhere in the
that's
world.
awesome.
Great opportunity for the
That's really cool.
99%. That's what's coming this decade.
100%. I think that's probably one of the most exciting innovations with cryptocurrency technology, blockchain technology, is that, all of the stuff that we haven't really been able to have easy access to, in terms of there's a person standing at the gate clipping every ticket, right? Now it's like this is an open market that anybody can get involved into and buy gold. Whether it's $1 worth of gold or $1,000 worth of gold, you can buy a token that represents that gold. And I know that the Perth Mint, correct me if I'm wrong, has a cryptocurrency token that for every token they sell has a certain amount of gold in their vaults,
Yeah.
that are audited by a third party. I remember I set up a digital wallet with that because I was like, this is cool. That'd be great. I think the biggest reason why gold has been traditionally just a store of value and not used as a currency, or it was used as a currency in terms of coins and whatnot, but is because it's very difficult to break up. And
Mm,
if I want to buy $1.50 drink at a store, I can't give them a tiny bit of gold, right?
that's
Like
right.
it's like, how do you break that up? So now you can tokenize that, which means you can have a fraction of whatever it is. You could break that down into that finite amount without you uh having to literally chop up a piece of gold or a gold bullion into a $1.50 amount.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool, I think.
We've done that too over the last couple of years at Wealth 99. So we have the same thing with gold, silver, and platinum. So exactly what you were saying with the Perth
Oh,
Mint,
cool.
we've done the same thing. Set it up with ABC Bullion,
Wow,
which is the largest supplier of bullion services. Australian government utilise ABC Bullion based in Sydney. So we've got the same sort of setup with those three for that reason.
man,
Yeah,
that is so cool. So
yeah.
in terms of that, so if people are kind of wanting to get into this type of world, how does Wealth 99 help them
Hmm.
in terms of your services? Like what are the kind of the key problems? I imagine like not understanding this kind of
Yeah.
technology very well, but still wanting a piece of the action. Like how do you kind of help people in getting into that investment world?
So let's sort of backtrack a little bit just before I answer that, right? So let's look at,
Sure.
I think the biggest misguided information about digital assets is one, people don't understand them. Two, they think they're risky.
Mm,
And because they see the wild
mm,
price fluctuations, they get scared and people
yeah,
avoid it like the plague because they don't understand it.
yeah,
So I look at
yeah,
digital assets as, let's just go back and turn it into something simple. If you were to go play a game of something, game of table tennis, a game of cards, a game of whatever you're playing in your life, what's the first thing you do? Pull up the rule book. Find out
yeah.
what the
That's what I was gonna
rules of the
say.
game are. How do I play this game?
Yeah,
And then you learn it, and the better you get at those rules, the more you play it, the better you get at it, and you master it.
very true. Yeah,
Same thing in the game of digital assets because it's so new, and everyone looks at it. That most people that I talk to just say, "Wow, the wild swings. How does that work?" And it's then getting to understand what the cycles are, and because
yeah,
most people are used to property cycle, 10, 11 years, double your money, pretty stable. Price doesn't go up or down too much. If it went down 20%, everyone's screaming, the world's fallen down, that their property's dropped in
yeah,
price.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's pretty
yep,
stable, right? But then they look at crypto and they go, well, you get wild swings of 20 or 25% in a day. So how does that work? You know? But
yeah,
then you go,
yeah,
hang
yeah,
on, it's a 4-year cycle. So there's a rule of the game. It's a 4-year cycle. It's different. It has 1 year up and 3 years either down or sideways. And then you go, okay, different
mm,
rules. Okay, it could swing
gotcha.
wild swings, but it's not necessarily, if you look at it over 4 years, you go, totally different now. Okay, so it does go as
Mhm.
period it goes up, although it's wild swings. It has a definitive pattern. And if you look back over the last 12 years, and I could show you a chart and you'd look at it and go, wow, that's the last 12 years. That's nearly overlaid each other over 3-4 year patterns now, and we're in year one of a new 4-year pattern that we're in right now.
Nice.
In the last month of that year one, and everything is showing it's following the same patterns as it is in the last 4 years, and it's just learning the rules of the game. So
Yeah,
how
nice.
we help
Nice.
someone is a couple of things that make us different and how we help. All right. In the crypto space, as you would have seen, or digital asset space, very few people give you help and support, or not.
Mm,
So you normally would have to contact the customer service, and it's all in written form. You can't pick up the phone and ring someone. There's no help and support.
yes. Yeah.
Wealth 99
Yeah.
went, hang on, if we're in the wealth space, we need to be able to talk to someone live, and you need to be able to pick up the phone and answer questions when you need it. So that's one of the things that we have
Yeah.
that makes us completely different. A wealth platform, you need someone to talk to and be able to get all that sorted out. We can't give
Mm,
financial advice, but we can educate. And education, like we just talked
yeah.
about, playing a new game, need to know the rules and you need to get educated. So one thing that we do a lot of is education. And the third one is that we're there for investment for the long haul. So we take a long-term approach to things. So therefore, and security is really important, making sure everything to try and make sure that your assets are safe and secure. They're there for auditors when you need it, if you're investing in your self-managed super fund, or if you've got it in a trust and you need to do all your tax returns, everything's there. And the auditor can go, yes, that asset is there, and yes, it is there, and they can report that it is and tick the box for the ATO and doing all the things that they need to.
Very, very important to do, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're set up that we're a wealth platform. So we're set up for people to grow their wealth. And it could start from $500 and up. But we have some features in
Yeah.
there that a lot of people would see that are not on other platforms, that are different. And we are very proud of those things. Can I just track back a little bit on security with
Yeah,
no?
please. Yeah, please.
Because
Yeah, no
you
worries.
talked a little bit earlier about the place to store a digital asset and a digital wallet, and I know I've
Yes.
got a USB.
Yeah, I was actually thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this.
I know I've got a USB stick here, but imagine that is like a digital wallet. If you're watching this,
Yeah.
that's a digital wallet, and it's got a digital address in there and a digital wallet to store it. It's not like your pocket wallet where you've got cash. It's a digital
Yeah.
wallet sitting on that little USB. So that's one way that you can store it. Another way you can store it is through the exchange where you buy it, like Binance or SwiftX or BTC
Yeah.
Markets or wherever you buy it, or Wealth 99. And that's the second way to store it. And the third way to store it, which is really important for long-term wealth, is called a service called an independent third-party custody. And this is what
Okay.
institutions use. And it's not talked about. You'll start to hear it come into language in 24 and 25 as more exchanges need to apply that, as the governments start to crack down and say, hey, you must have this service built in. So this is what the institutions
Yeah.
use. So when you come and work with Wealth 99, that's built into our exchange. So it has an insurance or custody service in there. And that's how we know where the assets are. The assets can't be withdrawn off our
Gotcha.
exchange. So we're more like a Net Wealth or a
Yeah.
Hub 24, which are large financial service companies in Australia that have been around 50, 70
Yeah.
billion dollars assets under management. We're set up like that.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
we've modeled ourselves a little bit around those, but we're set up like them for digital assets. So, if you come to the platform, the platform's secure, it's safe. And when you're looking to buy digital assets, you need to take some of those things into
Mm.
account for yourself, for your security. And otherwise you go
Yes.
and lose this and you lose all your assets. Uh, quick story,
Definitely, man. Definitely. Very, yeah.
quick story, really quick story on that. I was at a networking event up in Brisbane about March this year, and March 23, and this lady, an accountant there, was working with two 62-year-olds who had just lost their son. He'd passed away. He was 28, and
Far
he
out.
was 28, and he bought a stack of Bitcoin in 2011, a
Wow.
long time ago. And for 2 years, they couldn't find the stick. They still haven't been able to find the stick. There's millions
Oh,
of dollars of Bitcoin
really?
sitting on one of them somewhere.
Oh my
Can't
God.
find it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the downside of
Yeah,
having
that's
it.
the biggest.
Downside, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Risk.
Yeah. I lost my first wallet, and that would have had, this is in 2017, I think. I bought my first, it wasn't a huge amount, maybe $1,000 worth, but just the amount that it's gone up is insane. I just indexed in, right? I looked up what's the best split for $1,000 and just bought that. I swear the last time I looked at it, it was, like 15 grand or something crazy. And I was like, oh my God. And I tried to access it and I didn't back up the phrase or, the phrase key,
Oh,
anything like that. This is the first time I'd ever bought crypto, I was
yeah.
like, I have no idea how this works. And yeah, basically that's gone. So
Ah,
if they ever in the future figure out how to recover lost funds, I reckon that's going to be huge because
massive.
that is probably the biggest thing about cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology is if you lose your keys, you lose everything.
Yeah,
Like if you lose if you've got that stick, your hardware wallet that's where your money's on and you lose it, it's just like losing a pot of gold. You
yeah.
know what I mean? It's you're not going to recover it unless you've backed that up somewhere.
While you're on
Which you
that,
can do, right?
those words that you're talking about, the reason why you can't access that, I think we should talk about that
Yeah.
right now. Whatever you do, if you're listening to this call and watching this and you've never bought crypto before, those words are gold to you. Never, ever, ever,
Mm.
ever hand those over to anyone. Don't let anyone see them.
Yes. Yeah.
That is your protection. Because if someone else sees them, this is how the hackers are scamming a lot of. There was $1 billion in September Australians lost to crypto scams
Wow. Wow.
in September
Wow.
this year. $1 billion,
That is
and a
insane.
lot of it is
That is
those
insane.
those words that you were just talking about. People giving those over to other people, and then they go and recreate their wallets, and they lose that money, and then they take it out of there. So
Wow.
that that
Wow.
bit alone, do not give those away to anyone. Let anyone see them.
Yeah. Yeah. Far out, man. Yeah. Absolutely. Really, really important message there. So, for those who are interested in working with Wealth 99, like you were talking at the very beginning of this interview, like we were talking about how you do like self-managed super, you help people with trust. How do you guys help with that? Is that like a specialized service, or I guess just curious to know more about that, I guess.
Yeah, they just come along to our website, get access to the URL, set up an account. Depends on what it is. You need to set up your know your client, your KYC, and get depending on what you want to purchase in. If it's a self-managed super fund, we'd need the deed, trust deed. If it's a normal trust, company documents, or just a
Okay.
100 points
Yep.
of ID if you just starting yourself, and then it's just a matter of
Yep.
getting verified, and then obviously doing a deposit in. But then you know, understanding how we do it a little bit differently. I'd sit down and we do lots of education as well. So we do usually someone in the company. We have like weekly events, Q and A's, and we're always doing webinars and things and educating our market on a regular basis. I think that's the important part is if you're starting from scratch
Yeah.
is to
Definitely.
learn the rules of the game and just educate yourself. Don't invest
Yeah.
in something that you
Yeah.
don't understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been super informative, Darren. Thank you so much for your time today. I thought that maybe if you wanted to share with our viewers, our listeners, a bit more about like how could they get started with Wealth 99 if they were interested in investing in cryptocurrency.
Yeah, we can put some notes in the show notes. A couple of links there. They can book a time and have a chat for 30, 60 minutes, and I can just do some education if you like. And there'll be some links down there on where you can find out more as well, if that helps.
Perfect. That'd
Yeah.
be great. Excellent. Awesome, Darren. Well, look, before we wrap up for today, I thought we could go through some rapid fire questions just to kind
Okay.
of get a bit more of a tip. I feel like I could talk about crypto, I think, all day. So I'd definitely love to have you back on another time, maybe to go through a bit of a deeper dive. But for now, we'll keep it at that if that's all right. Um, the few questions that I like to ask everyone who comes on the show are just kind of more about just general business advice. So the first question that I'm going to ask you is basically what is kind of a ritual or a practice that you've adopted to look after yourself as a business owner.
Walking, walking and meditation. Yeah. I think as I'm getting older, I realize the value of moving my body. So I think morning walks,
Hmm.
or at least going for a walk at least once a day, is a good thing. Don't necessarily, back when I was playing professional sport, it's a little bit different. Used to push the body to extremes, but I think it's important to move the body and then just watch what's going on up here. Do some reading, whether it be audible or reading, and some meditation, probably the three things.
Very nice. Yeah. Do you do that daily? Like it's,
Try to.
I used to meditate a lot, but I've fallen out of the practice. It's really hard to, once you fall out of the practice, I guess.
Yeah, there's a book that I read, which I highly recommend if anyone's sort of off on their spiritual journey. The book's called Infinite Self by Stuart Wilde. The book was written probably 25 years ago, but it's all about the principles of the Tao, and it's just an awesome book.
Oh, nice.
Awesome book. And right there, right at the end of that, in chapter 12, there's a metronome meditation that goes for like 24 minutes, and it's just, it sounds like you're just getting beeped at, but it's really does help settle the brain down.
Yeah, nice. So that it's the infinite self, is
Yeah,
that right?
Infinite Self, INFINITE, Infinite Self, Stuart Wilde. You can get it on Audible.
Okay, I'll have to check it out,
Yeah,
man.
it's an awesome book. Yeah, there it is. Here it is there, right there.
Oh, no way. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's almost like we planned this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah. No, it's the only book that I've got it on Audible, physical book, and on the Kindle. It's awesome.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
man. Well, that's a great recommendation. You must like it if you've got it on all different
three.
channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, that's great. That's good advice. I definitely think that meditation, looking after your body, like, man, it makes a huge difference. In terms of getting work done, I'm going to switch it up. So that's how you look after yourself. How do you look after getting work done? What's your best productivity hack if you have one?
I think being prepared the day before for me. I like to do my diary and
Nice.
setups the night before. So I tried to close out my day and make sure I know what I'm doing for the next day, and then try and put the key things. Try and do the thing that's the hardest first. Then the rest of it's easy.
That's
If it's
really good advice.
if it's a crappy call you got to make, or you got to fire a staff member, or do something shitty, something you're scared of, or even that sales call that you don't want to do, do it first.
Yeah,
The
man.
rest of it's easy
Yeah,
after that.
that's great advice. I think that's the eat the frog principle,
That's
right?
the
If
one.
the worst thing you're going to do in a day is eat the frog,
Yeah.
you do it first.
Get it over and done with. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Great advice, man. And this will be a great one for you, considering that you are a technophile, if that's the right term. What would be like the one tool that you recommend every business owner should use? Is there a bit of software, an app that you love? Is there anything that springs to mind that you couldn't live without?
Oh, I don't think I could live without my phone now. My wife says that I'm on it more than I need to be. But what blows my mind is just this little thing, just how valuable it is from a marketing perspective to run your business with all the, your invoicing, checking your banking, doing your accounting, right through to into your industry where you're on the socials and taking videos and, you're sitting in a meeting, pushing a couple of videos, and it's up to LinkedIn, and you're marketing your business for free. And there's so much,
Exactly.
to think that when I bought my first one in 1991 mobile phone, that was back in the old days, to just how different it is now and just how valuable this is. So to me, this is one tool that I don't think I can go without now. I think I'm addicted to it.
Yeah. You know what? I feel you on that one for sure. Yeah. Awesome, Darren. Well, that's everything for the rapid fire questions. Really appreciate you sharing those bits of wisdom and for guiding us through kind of what Wealth 99 does and how people can take advantage of tokenization. Definitely keen to chat more on this. So if you would be kind enough to grace us on the podcast in the future, I'd love to chat more and maybe dive a bit deeper, I guess, on how business owners could potentially use this in their business as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just want to say thank you so much, mate.
Pleasure.
Where can people go to find out more information? Like, websites, socials, anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, just wealth99.com is where you can find out all our stuff. If you want to learn a little bit about me inside of there, there's under contact, there's a specialist page there, and all the different specialists associated with Wealth 99 are there. Otherwise, on LinkedIn, I'm always on LinkedIn, trying to educate people on LinkedIn as we, put stuff up there. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to do that. They're probably the two best places to connect.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, I'll definitely go and check out Wealth 99 and do a bit of a deep dive because, I love this type of stuff, man. So very much appreciate you sharing all your tips and tricks. And anybody interested, make sure to reach out to Darren for some guidance.
Thanks for your time, Kyle. It's awesome.
Cheers.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of Business Owners Unite. Thank you for spending this time with us and being a part of our growing community of entrepreneurs. If you liked what you heard, please show your support by subscribing and leaving a review on your platform of choice. Your feedback helps us grow and continue to bring you valuable content. Remember, your business journey is unique, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories in our upcoming episodes.